just in case.
Okay.
No, just in case. Just in case. I'd like to call the property service meeting to order. First, I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are on the Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Next is approval of the agenda. Moved by Councillor McKeel. Second by Councillor Butler. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Oh, sorry, Deb, I had my head down and wasn't looking.
That's all right. I'm just wondering if I could add another street light to the District 2 request tonight. It'd be 796 Egypt Road. They just called this weekend, so I thought if I got it on this month, it'd be better.
You had the form and all that for, or you're passing that in for?
I'll pass that in tonight.
I don't see a problem with it. What's the civic again?
796 Egypt Road.
Okay. Hearing that, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Count by nay. Motion carried. Is there any emergency resolutions? Councillor Dave Parker.
I do have an item I'd like to get put on the agenda. The province is presently consulting until Friday, this Friday the 24th, on a spring bear season. So we only got a couple days to put in our input, and I'd like to have a discussion and see if we may send off a letter on that topic.
Okay, we'll add it, oh, I'll show you, yes, we have to vote. Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Count by nay. Motion carried. So we'll add that to, we'll say it's 8B. Okay. Was there any errors, omissions, or corrections to the minutes of January 15, 2024? Warden Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Seems to be a page missing. We have page 2 in mine anyway, where it talks about the Colburn-McClellan's Brook Water Extension. It says the 3 firms submitted responses. One is Straight Engineering, and then it stops and goes on to Councillor Boyle's discussions about solid waste. And when I check the numbers of pages, there's 2 and 4, but no 3.
Yeah, we're missing page 3, so.
Just that I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. She'll resend it to. There is a page.
There is, yeah, I figured there was a page, it's
Yeah.
just not there.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any errors, omissions, or corrections to the minutes? Any errors, omissions, corrections to minutes? So we'll just add that, Warden Parker.
And Brian says there's no errors and omissions on page 3.
That's what he said.
No errors.
Yeah, no errors. Yeah.
Okay, next there's reports. First is the Public Works and Development report. Any questions for Logan? Seeing none. Move on, Development Officer's report. There's somebody. Any questions? Seeing none, we'll move on. Fire Inspector's report. Gee. There. Okay. Building Inspection report. Everybody sleeping tonight, or they're just want to get out here?
Agreeable.
Bylaw Officer's report.
I have a
Councillor Dave Parker.
correction there. There's one there, story about a German Shepherd dog biting someone at Ross Fraser's business,
Mhm.
Pleasant Valley. That is in District 6. That is not in District 7.
You don't want to claim that.
I'm not claiming that one.
No. Okay, so we'll make that correction.
It's on the other side of the highway, it'd be District 7. Where it is District 6.
6.
It's on the other side of the roadway by the Whistleberry, it'd be District 8. All come together.
I'll come.
Yeah.
Warden Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I noticed what happened there, and I'd heard about this. What's the next step in a case like this? Where is it legal, or is it does our bylaw officer, is there anything come out of that where somebody's gotten bitten and people have dogs for security sometimes, and you know, what's the next step, I guess is what I'm wondering. Does it just turn over to legal?
I could take that really quick. So, in this case, the individual who was bit by opening a door that was labeled "No trespassing," "Beware of dog," things like that. So we issued a notice to the owner to send the dog for more training and things like that, and also that to lock that door so that people can't be opening it. But really, the person did enter the building when they shouldn't have. They entered that room when they shouldn't have. It was well labeled as "Do not enter," "Beware of dog," "No trespassing." So I'm not entirely sure. Maybe Logan could speak to what was done in the past with these types of cases. But in this case, there's more to it than just a simple walking in the business and being bit.
Logan, would you like to add something?
Yeah, I'll just respond. We never had a case when bylaw enforcement was under my department, but like that, I think the course of action would normally be refer it to legal counsel and just confirm that there's nothing for the municipality, no potential exposure to the municipality. So that would be my only suggestion, is just to get that opinion.
But it is, through you, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
it is something that people do. And I think it's legal to have a dog for protection of your premises. Many times it's overnight or whatever when you want the protection, but you also have the dog that you have to house during the daytime period. And I just want to make sure that people know what their responsibilities are when they have a dog there for protection. Is the signage enough? Now, I guess now you're saying maybe it's not, that you're going to say lock the door as well, but that's the limit of our responsibility of our bylaw officer, is it, to let people know that they have to do certain things? I just wanted to be clear what it is those certain things are.
Sure. So yeah, typically, I mean, we certainly have the ability to seize the dog in this case. We've chosen not to do that at this point because we felt as though education to the owner may be better than a seizure of the dog. But the person is well aware that if this continues to happen, or if it happens again, that would be the course of action that we would be taking, would be to seize the animal.
Okay, and I agree with that, not seizing the animal first off, trying the education. I agree with what's being done then. Thank you.
Councillor Dorr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't think we would even have the right to seize the dog if they're on property and the sign said et cetera, et cetera. It's just, it's like everything that you're trying to protect, less than having a gun. They can do whatever they want. And the perfect example is just what Councillor Parker was talking to those other people. A fellow had an old trap set up and caught the criminal in it, and the cop said, yeah, he got in trouble because he had the trap set up in his garage to keep the thieves out, which everybody knows that's going on. And because the door wasn't locked in the garage, the Mounties wouldn't do anything. Like, pretty soon, people are gonna have to take a course on what changes. I don't know, my opinion of that was, wouldn't call the cops, I'd just put the dog on the fellow that was caught in the trap. But anyway, I guess, yeah, it was our own way of doing things in some parts of this county. But anyway, I'm disappointed that the person got hurt, but if I was a dog and the signs are on the building and keep away and all the other stuff that goes with it, what are people supposed to know? Maybe we should be sending that person
Yeah.
for some education instead of the people that are trying to protect the property. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody else? I kind of agree with Chester Doors, because I know the dog. I've been out there a number of times, and the dog is aggressive and things like that, but he is locked away or he's put away in the other part of the building, and it says do not enter, beware of dogs. So I don't know, you gotta take some responsibility yourself if you're the person that's walking through that door. So anyway, we'll move on. Next is the 2023 cottage collection report. Warden Parker.
I'm just wondering, I know we have a contract, we extended it, we have a contract with the people that pick up the garbage and recycling, and that's been, I think, extended for another year. This last year was the first year, was it? That we did the second year.
This was year 2.
Okay, and I noticed some of the tonnages are down in December, but that may have been due to all kinds of other factors. But is it still something we want to continue? I guess what I'm saying is it's still workable. I know the public wanted, those who were getting the service, but we said we'd try it for a year or two and see if it was financially doable, I guess, or feasible. Is that, I guess that must be the case, or we wouldn't have signed a new contract.
So our contract is basically year to year, so we actually are done at this point. So we've basically negotiate this program on a year-to-year basis. So if we want to extend it again, it would be 41,000 this upcoming year, and it was like 38, 39, so it's basically up by CPI.
So that'll be a decision we have to make
Yeah,
as
that-
council?
Yeah, that,
At
and
budget
that,
time?
During budget time.
Yeah,
we'll
okay.
do that.
yeah, if you want that referred to budget, the quote came in end of last week from
Okay.
GFL, so they are prepared to do it, the equipment. In the new contract that is tendered, currently through Pictou County Shared Services, this is in there as an annual item, and it's a year-round collection. It wouldn't just be an extended, it's a year-round, under the new terms.
Mr. Chair, I might ask, are you saying now that we're, in the next year, we'll be doing it January, February, March?
No, that contract, I think, is 2 years out. It's out for bids now, but the lead time on equipment and stuff, it's 2 years, so the RFP is out now. It'll close in the next 6 weeks, I think. So the new contract wouldn't start for, I think, 2 years. We have an extension currently with GFL for 2 years.
But we had agreed as a council, I think, that we would extend it to December, and that's really what was being asked, not for January, February, March. Look what we'd be in the middle of now if we were trying to get down some of those roads. So we never did make a commitment, I don't think, to anybody to do it for beyond the end of December.
Yeah, it's just what's in the RFP for pricing, to look at it on an annual basis. They're buying the equipment. You're paying for the equipment, whether they use it, because they use different trucks. So you're in essence paying for the equipment as part of the overall bid type thing. So that's why it's kind of priced, getting a price for what it would be all year round type thing. So.
Okay, it's just that the expense, it seems to me, would be quite a bit higher if we're trying to get down some of these roads that time of year.
And
They won't go down.
yeah,
No.
they won't go down. It's no different than regular garbage collection.
But those roads are much more difficult to
Yeah.
get up and down, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor One.
No, I was just going to say that the people in my area, the residents, our cottagers, and stay till the end of the year do appreciate the service, so it's something I'd like to see kept, so.
Okay. And again, we'll look at it at budget time to see if we're going to do that. Counselor Elliott.
Thanks. Since I was the counselor that brought that to the table because the people in my district wanted it, but it's not to do with cottages anymore. The people relocated, so now they're permanent residents, and their cottages are located down those roads. So whether they get the service down the roads or not, they're still entitled to garbage service on their off time. So you can't take something away that was given. I just wanted to say that. They're already there now in their residence, and they only, I guess it's discretion. They know that the garbage is not going to go down, the truck's not going to go down there if it's not passable. So I'm just hoping that what we have in place stays in place, even if it is added into the full price.
Okay, anybody else? Seeing none, we'll move on. Next is streetlights approval for District 2. We'll do them all at once. Civic number 141.44 Road, 145.44 Road, 161 Point 44 Road, across from 180 on Point 44 Road, and 796 Signage Road. Moved by Councillor Watton, second by Councillor Dorr. Any questions? Councillor Day Parker.
These are all in the zone where everybody pays for streetlight.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Counted by nay, motion carried. Next is road signage for District 4. Councillor Elliott.
Thank you. So I realize the issue that I'm bringing to the table is a provincial issue, but the issue is putting my residents in District 4 in danger, and 2 of the residents have requested hidden driveway, reduced speed signage for their driveways, and their concerns are valid, and their requests seem to be unheard and have gone unanswered for way too long. And the 2 residents, number 1, the civic number is on Highway 6 heading west, civic number 3909, and the other is on Highway 6 heading east, and it's civic number 2809. So they have tickets out on that. But there's no follow-through by the department representative that looks after this request. And one was even told that there's only one person that does it, and I'm not sure of how big or small that area is for that one person, but no one's ever come out. I also have tickets on both of those civic numbers in the system myself currently. And as I stated, I know it's a provincial issue, but it's my job to be the voice of the residents in District 4, and I was told the supervisor in that area would be calling me on several occasions with no callback. And now with time going by, I have a concern that someone will be seriously injured, if not killed, in these 2 areas. And I believe the 2 residents need and deserve an answer. And this is a request for someone to evaluate and tell them if it either meets the criteria or it don't, and it's put to rest because it's going back and forth way too long. And I'd like to have a letter written on this issue. So I'm asking council for support for a motion to have a letter written on this issue and sent to those who have the answers. So I'd like it sent to the supervisor on the Colchester County side, because that's where the 2 civics are located, and our MLA for Pictou West, and the Minister of Transportation, because I really think these residents deserve an answer, and I'd like someone to support this motion, please.
Moved and seconded. Any questions on it? It should go to the area manager for Colchester County.
If you can find him, I would love to
There's
speak to
one
him.
person that's responsible for 3 counties, and she works out of the Colchester office. She's the district traffic supervisor, so she's the one that goes out and makes sure that it meets the requirements or it doesn't meet the requirements. So, but I'd add him to the list. So.
Okay, so is there only one person who can decide this for all of Pictou County?
Pictou County, Colchester, and Cumberland.
One person?
One. It's on the.
So that was a true statement that that person was told?
Yes. Yep. Yep. So she's the one that goes out to verify. No. It's I get her name. I'll get it for you. But it's one person. So. Okay, hearing that.
I just should add one more thing, that one has been going on a year and the other one's been going on over 2 years. So it's not something that just happened last week or last month. This has been going back and forth for a long time.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Count by nay, motion carried. 8B, Councillor Day Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I only learned of this fairly recently, or I should have brought it up probably last month, but I didn't know about it last month. There is currently a proposal by the, what is it called? Natural Resources and Renewables to have a spring bear season this season. I think it's from about the 22nd of May till about the 20th of June. Part of their argument is we're the only province that has a bear population that doesn't have a spring bear season. Now, most of you probably know I'm a former hunter. I like hunting. I allow people to hunt on my land. There's been a bear harvested in my land about 10 years ago. Been deer harvested in my land. I'm not opposed to hunting, but I'm strongly opposed to spring bear season, okay? As some of you may know, I have a degree in wildlife biology. And when I was in Ontario 50 years ago, I was exposed to some of the spring bear season. It's not sporting at all. How can it be sporting to set up a barrel a couple 100 yards out there or 100 yards out there, fill it full of goodies, and wait till a bear comes along and shoot it? That's not sporting, especially in the spring of the year when they're naturally hungry, okay? But my real concern is that unless you're awfully intimate with that bear, how are you going to know whether it's a male or female? And if it is a female, how are you going to know it's a dry female as compared to a lactating female? The answer is you can't. And in the excitement of the hunt, oh boy, I'm going to get a bear, they're not too worried about that. They're just going to kill the bear. Okay? Once they've killed the bear, and it is a lactating female, and many of them are, then you also condemn the 1, 2, or 3, or even 4 cubs that are somewhere back in the swamp. They're going to starve to death. That is unbelievably cruel. And to me, just absolutely unacceptable for anybody that has the slightest bit of sporting ethic in them. What's it mean to be a hunter? You know, why don't we just round them up and put a noose on them and wait until you can go shoot them someday? It's just unbelievable. Anyway, the consultation, and I have sent a letter in to Mr. Tory Rushton on this matter. The consultation is only open until this Friday, the 24th of February. I'm asking that we send a letter opposing the spring bear hunt because of that very factor, that you cannot prevent the harvest of lactating females and thereby causing the starvation death of the cubs back in the woods, okay? And I'm pretty sure that if someone shot a lactating female, she would get dragged off in the woods too. They wouldn't report it. That'd make them look bad. And they're only allowed to harvest one. Their argument is, oh, we're only harvesting 1 bear a year. We haven't increased the bag limit. No, but you're doing it at such a time, in such a way that it's absolutely unsporting, okay? And it's cruel. And that's why I'd like to make a motion, I'll ask for a seconder, that we send a letter from this council to Mr. Tory Rushton, Minister of Natural Resources and Renewables, strongly opposing a spring bear hunt.
I'll second it.
It's moved and seconded. Councillor Elliott?
So I read the article on it, and it's May and June, 5 weeks, no Sundays. So why are they having it?
If I may, I'll try to answer that.
Yes.
I think the primary motivation for having a spring bear season, and certainly what I observed in Ontario 50 years ago, is that the operators, the licensed guides, have another opportunity to sell trips, make money to American sports, and I use that term very loosely. They're not all American, they could be from another province. They come in here, they buy a license, and they pay them thousands of dollars to stay in their lodges and be taken out to a bear baiting station. That's big business in many provinces, and that's what they're after here. It does nothing, it certainly doesn't do anything to help the bear population. We have a healthy bear population. I think we have sufficient controls. They're allowed to be shot in the fall, and they're allowed to be snared, foot snared, during that fall season as well. There's no evidence to show that we're failing to control the bear population.
Okay. Warden Parker?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll certainly support this motion. Anybody with a bit of heart couldn't quite picture killing a female animal that could have, in this case, cubs in the woods. We have a bear season, we have a deer season, but to the best of my knowledge, we don't harvest deer when those mother deer would be with the young ones or little ones. We have a lot more problems, or I hear of a lot more problems from deer than I do from bear. Yes, we have some bear. We live in we live in their environment. We live in the woods, and that's where the bears live. And so if we do the wrong things, and I did the wrong thing one time, left the lobster shell in the green bin, that'll draw a deer from 10 miles. But I mean, normally in our area anyway, I don't hear a lot of complaints. There's always some every year, because it's almost an oddity is why it kind of attracts the news. But with deer, we see them everywhere. They're always getting killed on the road, and unfortunately, they caused the loss of a young woman here not long ago in a vehicle accident, and that's always a possibility. But with bear, I don't hear those type of problems. And if this is only meant, the reason given seems to be just because the others are doing it. And if the only good reason is others are doing it, that's never a good reason for anything. So I fully support sending a letter to Mr. Rushton, and hopefully it'll make a difference. Thank you.
Councilor Dorr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm in total agreement with Councillor Parker in making this, because I wanted to talk about it tonight, and lucky enough he did. I had two people talk to me about it. I would say last year, for sure, I likely stopped the bus 20 times for those kids could see a bear and one cub or two cubs. And up in Lorne, 2 years ago, there was the bear and 3 cubs. The kids learned more that day on the bus looking at the bears than if they got to go on a trip. That was their trip, and they talked about it. And I know that's not enough reason likely to keep it from happening, but there's the example of the mother coming out that nobody knows what she is. They got the rifle with the scope on, they shoot the bear. Okay, then when they're going up to get the bear, then the little bears come running out or run away and they die. And it's no good. It's just poor thinking, and they likely thought nobody would care or they'd get away with it. But I certainly hope that the government takes a stand when they get letters. And surely there'll be some other councils or municipalities send in letters like we are. But anyway, I'd like to support this fully. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor McKeel.
Thank you. Just to add to that, can we copy other municipalities on our response? Thank you.
Okay, hearing the motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Count by nay. Motion carried. Next, is there any motions of reconsideration? Seeing any, I declare the meeting adjourned. Could have been faster if we didn't bring that up.
All right, good evening, councilors. I will call the Financial Services meeting to order. First, I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. First, I'll look for approval of the agenda. It's moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Deputy Warden Murray. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Any emergency resolutions? Any emergency resolutions? Any emergency resolutions? Okay. Any errors and omissions, corrections to the minutes of January 15th, 2024? Any errors, omissions, or corrections to the minutes of January 15th, 2024? And finally, any errors, omissions, corrections to the minutes of January 15th, 2024? We'll consider those minutes approved. Next, we'll move on to reports not requiring a motion. First, we have the communication report. Month of January. Any comments, questions? All right, seeing none. Recreation report for the month of January. Any questions or comments? Yes, go ahead.
I just found out today from the Recreation Department that the volunteer banquet will be April the 16th at the Wellness Center again. Similar format to last year. I'll send out a notice in your emails and mark it in your calendars for you.
Okay, thank you for letting us know. Okay, we'll move on to the warden's report for the month of January. Questions or comments? Okay, go ahead, Warden Parker.
I just wanted to add a couple of things that we've been working on when I meet with Wayne and Brian weekly. Certainly one of them may come up next under the audit committee, but we're working on getting letters out to all those delinquent accounts, because we're just running far too much behind on collecting our taxation, our taxes, and so that's one major item we're dealing with. And another is we're continuing to meet and discuss with the Nova Scotia Power Corporation on trying to get more approvals for extending our internet, and they're still slow in coming. They keep promising it's going to improve, but we may have seen some improvement, but we have a long ways to go. And the third thing I want to mention is that we haven't forgotten the motion here made by Councillor Elliott, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, to set up a special meeting to look at how we respond to emergencies and how we might do better. So that will be coming up this week, and we'll see if we can find a date to do that, because we don't know when the next emergency is going to come. Might be tomorrow, might not be for a year, but we have no way of telling, and suddenly it's upon you, and it may not be a snowstorm, and it may not be a hurricane, but we don't know what's coming. And we still have to have better ways, I guess, to address it as best we can. So there's just a few things I want to add there, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Warden Parker. Councillor Dewar.
So have we got a date set for a tax sale? It's so long since we had one, we better cut one in stone somewhere.
I think I'll let Brian answer that. This is a different approach than the tax sale, but it's going to happen quicker.
Well, it's just part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to do a tax sale differently this time, not doing it by auction, rather it'll be by tender. So that'll hopefully be able to condense it down a little quicker, type thing. So that it'd be mail-in. So there'll be a date for people to submit their tenders, and then there'll be a recommendation come forward. It also gives the council the ability to accept less than what's owing on a tax account. So if there was an exorbitant, like most of the ones like dangerous and unsightlies, we're never going to recoup the money on those. So it gives you the ability to write that off and set the price type thing. You could set the price down. So
is there any other county that does it that way?
Most municipalities have kind of
Gone to that.
transitioned that way. Yeah, it's a cleaner process, I think, than an auction.
And Madam Chair, that those letters are going to go out right away. So those people are going to receive a letter knowing right away that if they don't come in here and make arrangements or whatever, then something's going to happen. We're hoping to jumpstart some people, I guess, into action.
Okay. You're welcome. Okay. Moving on to the Audit Committee report. Councillor Wadden.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I do apologize. I didn't get this out earlier to everyone, so they could have read it yourself. But in any case, the status of our financials as of January 24th, we were advised John Rodding had been contracted to assist Karen. He dug into the work and performed a number of key tasks for the municipality. He was able to review the finance operations in terms of workload and processes. He identified hiring of outside firms as not sustainable or cost-effective. With additional resources, our municipality can manage many of the tasks and improve overall efficiency and effectiveness. The outcome was the municipality hire one additional staff person in the finance department. The anticipated start date is April 1st, 2024. Final date for audit completing was anticipated to be February 12th, 2024, pending no complications. Following its completion, a presentation meeting with the audit committee will have to be arranged. So far, I've not been made aware of any time when this meeting will be scheduled. Our current anticipated general surplus is $12,701, and the current anticipated internet deficit is $337,170, with an accumulated deficit of $436,645. And keep in mind, these numbers are for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2023. Tax bill letters, and I'm glad Warden referred to that tonight. It's good to hear that something is on the move with that. This is one of our top priorities within our committee. We are concerned with the number of outstanding tax bills within our county and are working on a program to contact these outstanding debts and give them an opportunity to make arrangements to pay their back taxes over a 2-year period to avoid having their properties go up for a tax sale. This solution has the ability to provide the municipality with a possible $200,000 a month for 2 years, if all outstanding accounts agree to the arrangements. We had anticipated these letters would be going out by end of September 23 to those residents. However, as of January 24th, which was our meeting night, those letters had still not gone out. So we were very disappointed to hear that result. But now tonight, we got a little better news on that, so I am glad to hear those letters being worked on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Wadden, for your report. Councillor Parker. Your mic, please.
I turn it on when it should be off and vice versa. To Councillor Wadden, or through you to the chair, and really the question I think is for the CAO, are we on timeline to have that hire completed by April 1?
Probably not the 1st of April, but we're probably not far off of that. Like, we'll probably have it advertised in the next week or two. We've kind of, over the last week, we've refined the job description, talked to other municipalities, and get their setups, and I think the way some other municipalities are structured, and I think the evening of the audit committee, we were debating whether it was a unionized position or management position. I think we've come to the conclusion it's probably a management position, but it's kind of a middle manager, not a, the person will report into the director of finance, but manage the front office staff type thing. So it'll be a middle, we'll call it middle management. Or
If I may, Madam Chair. My frustration, my concern is that the ability to collect our taxes and the ability to do much of our financial work, and this is absolutely no comment on Karen, she works like a Trojan, but she needs help, and we're too slow getting her help, and so we keep falling further and further behind. And that's why I will continue to ask on this question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Parker. Any further comments or questions? Okay, we'll close it up with you, Councillor Wadden.
Thank you. Just on the new hire, Brian, I've been asked by some people if she would be, or he or she would be considered as a successor to Karen, because we do know Karen is looking at like 4 years down the road, of course, but some succession planning for that department. Would that be a possibility for that person, or?
all depends on skill set that we identify
Okay.
as part of it. There could be a natural progression there, but it's not necessarily a guarantee.
That's not in the plan
right?
right
That-
now, okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, well, moving on to taxes receivable report. As you saw in our packet, that the gap is closed a bit this month with our payments received. Any final questions or comments? Go ahead, Warden Parker.
It may have improved month over month, but if you look at where we were last year and look at where we are this year, it appears to me there's about $500,000 more owing at this point than there was this time last year, unless I'm reading it wrong. So we're getting very deeper here, and that's why it's so important that we get these letters out and that we get some follow-up action. And you know, I know part of it is how far back do you go? Do you go back, you know, a year, 2 years, 3 years? That's up to our CAO to decide, I guess, but we are slipping backwards if you look at year over year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we'll move on to number 7A, accounts paid for the month of January 2024. Can I have a motion, please? Moved by Councillor Dewar, seconded by Councillor Parker. Open the floor up to questions. Go ahead, Councillor Palmer.
Just got two. Check number 21711, $38,037.93. It's for Alliant, and it's December landlines. Wondering if. It's a lot of money for landlines.
It could. It's probably a combination of different bell bills. So there would be,
For a month though, or would it be
well, the tower,
Oh, for-
co-locations, things like that, pole attachment fees.
oh, it could be for the
Yeah.
internet projects?
Yeah, as
Okay,
well, so
okay.
it's-
I was just thinking, I just
Yeah.
seen landlines, and I was like, ooh, geez,
Yeah, that would be high for our telephone bill, but
yeah.
So it's a combination of things,
it's a combination, yeah.
Okay.
It's not one.
not just
So
one.
then the other one is 21,719 for $17,741.94. It's Rogers, and it's December's monthly charge internet. Is that, are we buying service from them, or is that for the Halifax?
So that is the transport of internet out of Pictou County, so
Oh, Pictou County.
that's,
To go to Halifax, is it?
that goes to Halifax, so that's for, it's normally 10,000 a month, so that's prorated from when it came on.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Type thing,
I thought
so-
it was
Yeah,
around
it's
10,000.
10,000, it's $5,000 per wavelength or route.
Yeah.
So that's actually a combination of multiple months
Okay.
type thing.
No, that's great, thank you.
Okay. Any further comments or questions on the accounts paid? Okay, seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Okay, next we'll move on to items requiring action. The first is we have municipal service grants, request for approvals. So the first one is District 7 Union Center Community Hall in the amount of $2,558 for insulation upgrades to the hall. Do you want to move that?
I would like to move that to R50, which is a fairly high standard of installation. It's an
Okay.
older building. We now have it heated with heat pumps, and we're trying to be as energy efficient as possible. So I will move that.
Can I have a second? Okay, been seconded by Counselor Elliott. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have two extensions for requests for municipal service grants. The first is District 2, Little Harbor Presbyterian Church, in the amount of $10,000 for the purchase of doors, and District 3 for Seaboard Cemetery, $75 for gravel. Go ahead, Counselor Wadden.
I'd like to move we accept these extension requests. I know with the church in Little Harbor, the doors are on order, they just haven't got them to back order, and that's what they're waiting for.
Okay. Right, and I think gravel this time of year is quite, a little hard to get and not really the conditions for it, so. Okay, it's been seconded by Deputy Warden Murray. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have extensions, requests for council grants. We have 4. The first one is Northumberland Fisheries Museum, the amount of $1,000 for interpretive panels. The second is the Seniors Outreach in the amount of $3,405 for Lunch and Learn sessions. The third is UC Friends for $1,500 for programming expenses. And the fourth is District 13 Rec and Planning Commission in the amount of $900, and that is for the coordinator, community coordinator position. Can we have a motion for the approval of those extensions? Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Palmer. Been seconded by Councillor Butler. Any questions or comments on those extensions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have community generator fund approvals. The first one is the Barneys River Fire Department in the amount of $3,453, and that's the contribution, our contribution towards the generator. And the second is the Union Center Community Hall in the amount of $2,953, and that again is our contribution towards the generator. Okay, been moved by Councillor Butler. We have a seconder. Councillor Elliott, moved by Councillor Elliott. Any questions or comments concerning these two approvals? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have recreation grants. The first is the 23-24 Fundy Highland Stars, under 13 AAA, $250 for sponsorship of hosting provincials. Then we have the Pictou County Trails Association, the amount of $1,000 for sponsorship of workshop. Then we have the 100, is that the IOOF? That's what it should be. More Lodge, number 17, the amount of $1,000 for repair broken stair lift. And the fourth is the Pictou County Seniors Festival, the amount of $500 programming expenses. Moved by Councillor Palmer. Seconded by Councillor Parker. Any questions or comments? Yes, go ahead, Warden Parker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to make a comment on the Fundy Highland Stars. These young ladies, obviously know how to play hockey, and it brings a lot of pride to our county, I think, when we host these tournaments here. And, anybody who's been watching the new professional Women's Hockey League will know that this is an up-and-coming sport. And we have some natives of our own county, at a high level in that sport. So I just wanted to highlight, how blessed we are to have not only the young ladies that are playing, but all those coaches and helpers that you see in there. Somebody giving up a lot of their time to make sure this happens. So I think it's good news for our county to see this come forward. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Further comments or questions? Go ahead, Councillor Palmer.
Just on the IOF hall, $1,000 is for the replacement of the stair lift. They're going to replace the old one with the new one. Okay.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Seeing no more comments or questions, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have the tender results for the internet vehicle, and the information was enclosed in our packet. See here. Thank you. So as we see that we've had, I guess, two bidders in for the tendering process. The first one was Highland Ford. There was two vehicle models, a Transit 350 cargo and an F-150 4x4 regular cab. And then we had Heron GM with a Sierra 4x4 double cab. So the recommendation from staff is that we purchase the Ford F-150 vehicle from Highland Ford. Open it up. Go ahead, Councillor Palmer.
Just a question, will this vehicle need to haul equipment around, things like that?
Could we have a motion on the floor first, if you wouldn't mind?
No motion? I'll put the motion.
Okay, thank you.
Is this for hauling equipment around and things like that? Are you gonna have to put a cap on the Ford F-150, the regular cab? Oh, yeah.
There we are. So we will have to put a cap on it after the fact. So we're currently presuming this goes through. We've researched some options, and we're basically sourcing out what we're going to need. We anticipate probably $5,000 to $6,000 to finish equipping the vehicle to be able to have it serve the purpose that we need it for, which would be repairs, technical assistance. And we've identified many areas using a outside contractor to do this work on our wireless network that we think we can manage in-house for a fraction of the cost. So, but in order to do that and to minimize those costs, we need to invest in that area. And this is how we intend to do that.
So I was just wondering if you gotta put a walk-in cab, that's what I'm figuring.
No, it won't be anything to that effect. It'll be enough that it can hold the necessary tools and equipment. Potentially, I would anticipate seeing the wireless antennas or potentially the receivers. And most importantly, it would need an extendable ladder is one of the parts. So we would have the ladder mount on the side so that they're able to service, whether it be power lines, households, whatnot. But they don't need to be able to work in the back. They just need to be able to house all the tools and equipment they may need.
So that, my question really is, would the cargo van be better suited for that requirements? And I see that it's probably hybrid, is it?
It's fully electric. Fully electric, and it's much larger than we require. Yes, the initial hope was to find one of these smaller sized transit style vans. You see them going around like a Mike's Courier van, etc. They're very reasonably priced, around $40,000. However, you can't get one from here to Quebec because I've tried everything. So the alternative, the only thing they did have was the full size, fully electric van, which of course would require us then installing charging stations, which would slow it down, and it's more than we need, and it's not the most financially reasonable option, which is why we had come in and suggested the regular cab F-150.
Okay, no, that's all I was wondering. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. Any further comments or questions? Go ahead, Councillor Wadden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll support the motion tonight, but I am disappointed we're not going with hybrid or electric because it's just really unfortunate that this has been our third vehicle the last year we've bought. And I really think it's a shame we're missing the opportunities to do something for climate change. But thank you.
Go ahead, Warden Parker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to agree with Councillor Wadden. I was thinking exactly the same thing, that I know the Climate Change Advisory Committee had, put a motion through that came here, I think, saying that we seriously consider, hybrid or electric. And I understand with electric, there could be some problem getting the charging done. But I know they'll be disappointed that we're not purchasing vehicles. They realize there'd be some more money involved, but it's unfortunate, I guess, that there's no vehicle available in that, and that appears to be the case. We don't want to buy something that isn't what we need just for the sake of buying hybrid electric. But, maybe they'll become more available in the near future, hopefully, so that you can't ask people to go in a certain direction and then not have them available. That this has been ongoing for a while, I think.
And just to further on that comment, we did discuss the options. In fact, I did go as far as to look into funding options that we could get money back from different departments of the government that will give us back electrical money against an electric vehicle, as well as charging stations. However, because I did go pretty far down that road to see if that would be a reasonable option. However, after discussing with some of the other members on the technical team, there was also concerns of cold weather and running the vehicle for long periods of time. If they're out on site and they're performing technical work, they will have potentially laptops and other equipment running as well. So the vehicle will have to run in order to continue that operation. So there's concerns about whether or not, how long it could stay charged and serve that purpose, extreme temperatures, as well as longer periods of time draining the battery with more than just running the vehicle, but other electrical items as well. So I'll just throw that out there. There was the dual concerns.
Thank you.
Makes sense. Perfect. Okay, go ahead, Deputy Warden Murray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wondering if the tender went outside of Pictou County?
It did not, but some of the companies we worked for, like Ford, for instance, they made multiple calls to outside dealerships to try to secure the ideal vehicle. However, they could not.
But it went to all the dealerships in the county, did it?
It went to the Chev, it went to Dodge, it went to Ford, and it went to Nissan, being the vehicles that we anticipated having utility vans primarily. It was after these tenders went out and communications continued that it became clear that we would not be securing the vehicle we are actually looking to get, and we would have to be open to other options given the availability.
Perfect. Okay. Let's call the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. That wasn't very exciting. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Keep you on your toes. All right, next we're going to do the property write-off for 413 East River West Side Road in the amount of $2,398. Oh, go ahead, Counselor Thompson.
I'll put a motion on the floor that we write off this tax bill.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Seconded by Counselor Dewar. Any other questions or comments concerning this write-off? Go ahead, Warden Parker.
And I know Counselor Thompson worked with this, with Jennifer Sutherland, and I did, after receiving a call from her probably 6 weeks ago. And it's a case of where the PVSC admits they made a gross error, and this lady got caught in the middle. They had, this home in Bridgeville, they had greatly undervalued it to where the people living there were only paying, I don't know, what was it, $90 a year taxes, I think, $45 twice. But yet when it came to their attention, once it changed hands, then they realized that there's a big mistake here, and so they simply corrected the mistake. But there was no allowance for Ms. Sutherland. They billed her for that back amount that wasn't collected, that should have been collected. Nobody should have been getting away with paying that little, but if you're not being billed for it, you're not standing up saying, bill me more. So she was, when she bought the property, within a few days, she gets this bill saying that she owes that money. And so it is a case of a gross mistake on behalf of PVSC, and it's only the right thing, I think, for us to do as council to to write that off, because it's really not her bill. She didn't own the property at that time, but yet she's being taxed for it. So I think this is the right thing to do.
Okay, thank you. Any other further? Go ahead, Counselor Parker.
I think we need to understand too that we are setting a precedent here. What happens if somebody buys a property on April 15th or May 2nd with what they think is a very low assessment, and then they find out, then it gets adjusted? Are we going to draw a line and say, well, you get to skip your taxes for this year? And I do know of a case where it happened before. The person buying was aware that there was probably an error, and the error caught up to them and they had to pay for it. So we are setting a precedent here. We need to recognize that. I'm not going to vote against it, because I think the lady has been hard done by. But what happens if it occurs earlier in the year? Are we going to say, well, you get to skip your taxes for a year? It is a substantial amount of money. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other further comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Okay, next we're going to move on to citizen appointments. We have quite a few to go through tonight. We'll start off with the audit committee. There are 2 positions on that committee to be filled. Rick Vian and Susan Robinson are both currently members on that committee, and have reoffered again. Okay. You'll make that motion, Councillor Palmer? Okay, it's been seconded by Councillor Wadden. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have the Police Advisory Committee, and there's 1 position to be filled, and Kevin McDonald has made that application. Is he currently a member on there? Yes, he is. Okay. Okay, moved by Councillor Palmer.
Second it.
Seconded by by Warden Parker. I can't spit your name out tonight. I'm so sorry. I keep getting tongue-tied. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have the Planning Advisory Committee. There's 1 position still vacant, so there's 2 citizen appointments on that committee. So we have no nominations for that, so I assume that'll be re-advertised. Okay. Moving on to the Riverton Guest Home Association, there's 1 position to be filled, and we have 2 applications. We have Bonnie Allen and also Mary Jean Rochon. As she's the chair? Okay, thank you. Okay. Seconded by Councillor Butler. Any further discussion on that appointment? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have the 144 Construction Engineering Flight Board of Directors. There's one position still vacant, and there's been no nominations, so that position will again be advertised. Next, we have the Climate Change Advisory. There's 5 positions to be filled, so there's 2 vacant positions still available that will be re-advertised. For now, we have Violet McCullough, Ed Kennedy, and Reg Brightman. Okay, we have a seconder?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Palmer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have the Fences Arbitration Committee. There's 1 position to be filled, and that is, applicant is Joyce Rude.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Deputy Warden Murray and seconded by Warden Parker.
Yep.
Okay, said it right this time.
Get it
Okay,
right.
get it out. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have the Accessibility Advisory Committee. There's 4 positions to be filled, and we have 4 applicants. We have Susan Matheson, Rick Parker, Grace Maxner, and Ray Gunn. Moved by Deputy Warden Murray. Seconded by Councillor Parker. Yes, did you have something, Chester?
Is that something that we usually do? The number 3, app there, and then, write-up, if you're ready, she doesn't live in the county.
Student, college.
Acceptable? Okay. Yeah. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Next, we have the Pictou Water Source Protection, and 1 position still vacant, and there's no nomination, so again, that one will also be re-advertised. Okay, moving on to community announcements. What's happening in Pictou County for February and March? Oh, go ahead, Councillor Butler.
The annual Lismore Dinner Theatre is coming up on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of March. This is the 25th anniversary of the show, and for those who might be interested, the tickets are all sold.
Go see the scalpers.
No, scalpers, I know, funny. All right, well, that's good to hear. I'm glad you have community support. Councillor Palmer, you have something to add?
Well, this is not a community announcement, just wanted to give a shout out to all the volunteers that helped shove off the roof at the Ivor Arena. We had a lot of snow that came down, and a lot of it stayed. It was the way the wind blew, and stayed on the entrance to the arena, plus the dress rooms and the washroom facility. So we get volunteers. 3 of us did it on Friday, and then we had 10 to 12 on Saturday, and another 10 to 12 on Sunday. So we had a good turnout, and it made things a lot easier. There was about 6 feet of snow all the way across. So a lot of snow.
Goodness. Well, that's good to hear. Councillor Elliott.
Just a notice that the River John Legion Annual Smelt Fry is being held Saturday, February 24th, 11 a.m. until sold out, and the price is $15 per person.
Yum, yum. Okay, Councillor Thompson?
2 items. First, on March the 8th is International Women's Day, and the Pictou County's Women's Resource and Sexual Assault Center is hosting an event at the Wellness Center from 11:30 to 1:30, and it's a luncheon. Tickets are $25, and they have a guest speaker, Catherine Salter from Dalhousie University, a research professional exploring the crucial topics of at the crossroads of policy, the gig economy, and gender-based violence. So that's on March the 8th. That's a Friday from 11:30 to 1:30. And the other item is the Plymouth fire department, ladies auxiliary, and the fire department, the men and the firemen and women, I guess I should say, are hosting a free community lunch for residents of District 11. We're gonna put a visa in, a temporary visa in there for Chester to come over from District 12 and have a bowl of soup and some sandwiches and talk to all the good folks over on the other side of the river. And, but that's on February 24th from 1 to 4 at the Plymouth Fire Hall.
Okay, okay.
And
Yes.
that, I should say that money, the money came from our Community Connectivity Event Policy Fund. We provided some money for that.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, thank you. Warden Parker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to comment first on what Randy said about the shovelers. It is not easy to find shovelers, so he was fortunate to find that many at our business. We had 7 shovelers for 5 days in a row trying to get the weight off the greenhouses, and God bless them, because it's not an easy job when you're shoveling all day and to come back the next day for more punishment. So we're lucky we didn't lose more buildings in this county than what we did. It was just a terrible amount of weight on them. But I wanted to mention that on March the 11th at 7 p.m. in the hall next to the Durham Church Hall, Corporal Andrew Joyce will be giving a special presentation on scams, especially as it relates to seniors. There's an awful lot of our seniors falling victim to these scam fellows. Are getting better and better. You know, they no longer sound like they're in another country somewhere, and they're very good at touching the right buttons for seniors, whether it's their grandchildren or whatever. And so Corporal Joyce will be speaking to this, and I understand he gave a presentation in Scottsburn not that long, or Lions Brook, I believe, not that long ago, and it was very well received. So if anybody wants to learn something or something to pass on to your residents too about the scams. And one last thing, Madam Chair, it wasn't that long ago we talked around this table about flyers and people being fed up with flyers being floating around, people that don't want them. Now I've got the opposite concern. People are upset that they're not getting their flyers. So I'm going to ask if it's all right that our communications person, Adam, could put something on. I was told that if we had a list of names and civic numbers, that it would be addressed. So this is quite a big concern to some people, especially seniors and people trying to make their budget stretch. And I couldn't believe that we're going to be asking, you know, pro flyers instead of against flyers, but I guess what goes around comes around. So I will be talking to Adam about that, but I don't know if any other areas have the same concern or not. But what happens is these people, they don't get paid a lot of money for putting these out, and they give up. And these people have done it for a long time and knew all the places, but there's somebody new on, of course, and things change. And but we were told if you had a list of names, so if anybody else has that problem, you might try the same thing. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you, Warden Parker. Councillor Parker.
This is not really a community announcement. I put 2 sets of flyers up through my snowblower, it's big enough to handle it, and I scooped another one up the front end loader. But I'm having issues with the news and views not getting delivered to all of my residents. Now, this is for RR2 Westville, and I have reliable information. I can't say I know. I have reliable information that bundles of them are being dropped off to apartment buildings in town so that they no longer have enough to deliver when they get out to the far end of their route. So I'd ask the CAO if you can look into that. As a, you know, well, they didn't get them, and this lady wanted one. I took her down the one ahead, but she said there's quite a few of her neighbors that don't get it anymore. Wonder what happened to it. So it is reaching. I don't see Sue Ann here, but she can read our minutes.
Right there.
Is she? Oh, I couldn't see her.
She even spoke to me.
Yeah.
Where were you?
I was off my own little world.
I guess so.
But anyway, they want the news and views because it's got a whole lot of information in it, how to contact, who to contact, and so on. Anyway, I'd ask you to look into that, please. Thank you.
Okay, is everybody community announcement out? Any more to go? Oh, got another one.
One thing on the shoveling, we have more women than men.
Woohoo! All right, do we have any motions of reconsideration this evening? Yes, Chester. Counselor Dewar.
Chester better.
Chester,
So-
okay.
I thought I'd try this because something new. Everything's new, new management, new ideas, but it doesn't seem to work sometimes. So why are we going to the wellness center instead of Plymouth Fire Hall? Can't we go, were they asked for the recreation?
I will ask Recreation, but I know they had a great turnout last year, like the format.
Yeah, but we're not supporting the little communities that need the, okay? I know that place, we could dump every bit of our money in and still wouldn't have any. But it was great when it was in the other little community halls. But just all I want to know is find out, and if they couldn't do it, fine. But for them to be able to support us for 25 years or more, and then just go away from them to go to the other place, I don't think it's fair. So is that what reconsideration of a motion is?
I don't really know if there's a motion on that, but
Okay.
it's,
But you'll check that out before you cut it in stone?
I can chat with the Recreation Department and get
So
you an
chat-
answer, but I can't guarantee that.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion, then. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But anyway, I just wanted to know if the little places still got a chance.
okay. Is there any further motions of reconsideration? Hearing none, I'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you.